Hey, homeschool moms, I am back with another curriculum review for you. Today, I want to share one of our favorites from this current homeschool year, and that is America the Beautiful from Notgrass History. Now, this is a 1-year American history course that was designed for the middle school grades, so about 5th through 8th grade. Yet, one of the things that I love about Notgrass history is that you really could use their history with a wide age range of kids, which makes it wonderful to use as kind of a multi-age family learning curriculum. So you can combine several kids together to use this curriculum and adapt it to fit each child. Another great thing about this curriculum is that it isn't just a history curriculum. Depending on how you choose to use the curriculum and depending on which components you purchase, which we'll talk about all the different components of the curriculum in just a minute, but depending on how you choose to use it and what the different components that you purchase, you could actually use America the Beautiful to cover not only history, but also geography, vocabulary, writing, literature, and even Bible. That is a lot of subjects for just one curriculum. And so again, Notgrass history is so adaptable and flexible. You can use it with multiple kids and you can use it for multiple subjects. Now, a little later on in the video, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you the different components of this curriculum and kind of walk you through one unit in the textbook so you can see what a full week would look like using the curriculum. Now, when you see it at first glance, you're going to think, that just looks like a normal textbook to me. But Notgrass history, their textbooks actually read more like a narrative. And if you use the literature component that you can add on, it feels more like a literature-based unit study. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds or multiple worlds between kind of the textbook, yet you've got that narrative and you've got that literature-based unit study approach all together in one curriculum that you can use for multiple kids at one time and covers more than just history. Yeah, it is a great curriculum. Now, there are some other things that I love about this curriculum as well. First off, I love that the authors write the history, American history, or any of the history curriculum they write from a biblical worldview. So that is woven in throughout every single lesson. But one of the activities that you can choose to have your child do at the end of a lot of the lessons is what is called thinking biblically. And it's really just helping our kids look up scripture and to think biblically, using that scripture reference to think about what they just learned and what scripture has to say about that, which I love that feature in the book. The second thing that I appreciate about this curriculum is the flexibility and adaptability. And I've kind of already talked about that, but this really can be adapted not only to fit multiple kids and different age ranges, but even you can adapt it for your unique child, for the unique situation that you are homeschooling in, and also just you can adapt it for that given day and how much time you have to do school and to do history that day. So you can each day choose to cut things out or add things in. It's totally up to you. Very flexible, very adaptable. Finally, another thing that I love about this curriculum is that there is no teacher's manual. No teacher's manual. And while I always like a good teacher's manual now and then, I really like that this curriculum does not have a teacher's manual because it makes it so open and go. There are no lesson plans that I have to do. I don't need to prepare anything the night before or the week before. I simply either open up to the next lesson or have my child open up to the next lesson, and I can read the lesson to them, especially if I'm doing it with multiple kids, or they can read the lesson themselves. And when they're done reading the lesson or I'm done reading it to them, there's a list of activities for me to choose from to to have my student do. And so I can just let them know which of those activities I want them to do. And sometimes I just base it off of how much time we have left in that day to do our homeschool activity, our homeschool work. And so it's so easy, no teacher's manual needed, no lesson planning, no prep work, open and go. Have your student read the lesson and then pick which activities you want them to do. Now, there is an answer key that comes along with the curriculum, and that's just answers to things like tests and quizzes, should you choose to use those, as well as answers to the student workbook and the lesson review workbook, if you choose to use those. So there's answers there for you. You don't have to go find them yourself, but there's no planning that you have to do. So super open and go. Love that about it. So what comes with this curriculum, and what does a typical week look like when using America the Beautiful? Well, first, let's talk about what comes with this curriculum. Now, you can purchase all the components of this curriculum separately. And that might be helpful if you are homeschooling multiple kids. And so maybe you're going to buy one of the packages that I'm going to tell you about, but then you want to buy an extra map workbook and an extra timeline workbook for each additional child that you have. Or maybe you found little bits and pieces of this curriculum at a used curriculum sale or through some kind of homeschool curriculum swap, and you need to fill in the gaps of the different pieces that you're missing. You can purchase those individually from their website. But there are two main curriculum packages to choose from, as well as a literature package. So let's walk through each one. The first option is a package that has the core curriculum that is needed to teach this course. This package on the Notgrass history website is called America the Beautiful Curriculum Package. So it's just their curriculum package. And it's going to include both textbooks, America the Beautiful Part 1 and America the Beautiful Part 2. And I know right now you're thinking, what? 2 textbooks for a 1-year American history course? That seems like way too much. Let me reassure you that it is not overwhelming. Actually, when you look at the actual text, it's probably the amount that you would find in a normal textbook. It's just broken up into 2 big textbooks because they have filled it with so many beautiful pictures, which I think help keep our kids engaged, and it just makes it more enjoyable to actually see history and see photographs from the past. So backing up to what the package includes, the curriculum package has both of those textbooks, Part 1 and Part 2, as well as a book called We the People, which is a collection of letters and stories, speeches, poems, songs, and some other historical documents that are related to what your student is learning. Now, these first 3 books that I just shared with you, so the 2 textbooks and We the People, are hardbound, and they are beautiful, and they are high quality. They're going to last you a long time. If you have multiple children that you want to use this curriculum with, down through the years, they're great hardbound books. Now, the other 3 items that come in this package is a map workbook and a timeline workbook for the student, as well as the answer key for the parent. And these 6 items are really all you need to implement America the Beautiful and do it well, and to really enjoy the curriculum and enjoy learning about American history. However, if you want tests or quizzes for your student, you like to give quizzes or tests, or maybe that's just something that's required with the homeschool program or in your state that you live in, then you are going to want to also add in either a student workbook or a lesson review workbook. So what is the difference? Well, the student workbook is geared more towards the younger age range of that curriculum. So maybe like a 5th or 6th grader. It has worksheets, and more fun activities for the student to do to review that lesson. It's also going to include the quizzes and tests and literature review questions if you decide that you want to do the literature component of this course. Now, the lesson review is probably geared more toward the older kids. Each lesson is going to have 5 questions to help them review what they just learned. And they can either write those in on the lines provided in the workbook, or you could do these questions orally with them as well. The lesson review is also going to include quizzes and tests and literature review questions, just like the student workbook does. Now, if you want to do the literature portion of the course that goes along with America the Beautiful, you're going to need each of the 10 novels that are assigned with this curriculum. And you can find a list of all 10 books on the Notgrass history website, and I will leave a link to that and everything else down in the description of this video so you can check that out. But I'm going to guess that a lot of those books you already have on your bookshelves at home, and if not, most of them can probably be found at your local library. But you do have the option of purchasing all 10 books in the literature package. So it's called America the Beautiful literature package. And what that literature package is just those 10 books that go along with the America the Beautiful course. So nothing else comes in there except those 10 books. The final option is called the America the Beautiful bundle, and that's really what it is. It is a bundle of everything that you can get all together. It includes all of those 6 items that I already shared with you in the curriculum package. So the 2 textbooks, the We the People book, the map workbook, the timeline workbook, and the answer key. But it also includes 1 copy of the lesson review workbook, 1 copy of the student workbook, and all 10 of the books that are assigned in the curriculum if you want to use the literature component. So with this bundle, you're going to have everything you could possibly need to complete every single activity or any option that's available there. You'll be able to do it with the bundle because everything will be bundled up and delivered to you. Now let's take a look at each of these components so you can understand them a little bit better and get a look at them. And then I want to just walk you through 1 unit or 5 different lessons that you would do over a week's time. So let's take a look at those 6 items that are included in that curriculum package that I talked about. So first, we're going to take a look at the 2 textbooks, Part 1 and Part 2. So of course, let's start with Part 1, and I'll just flip through so you can get a look inside. Notice, like I said, that while there's, text in there, there's also a lot of pictures as well, and pictures in color as well as photographs in black and white. And now this is America the Beautiful Part 2. We'll just flip through this one as well so you can get a look inside of that one. Next up is We the People. And remember that this is a collection of different historical documents, including poems, newspaper articles, songs, speeches, and things like that. And there are pictures in this one as well for your student to enjoy. I love this, that it is bringing real primary source documents into the traditional textbook approach. Next up is the maps, and this is the map workbook. Now my daughter's almost done with this curriculum, so she's already filled it all out, and it's full of color from her colored pencils, but that's just a quick look into the map book. And then you also have the timeline where they will be filling things in, but again, pictures in there as well. Next up is the lesson review workbook, and this is the one that has quizzes and tests as well as about 5 questions to help review each lesson. And so that is one of the options. You can also purchase the student workbook. Now, I didn't purchase it this year, so if you want to see a sample of that, you'll have to go to the Notgrass History website. Now let's walk through what 1 week will look like using this curriculum. We're going to look at Unit 23. On the first day of that week, we're going to do this lesson on our American story. And this is going to be kind of the main history lesson for the week. And at the end of the lesson, you'll see that there are activities to choose from. So here's a biography one, and that biography assignment is right there next to them for them to read. We also have a We the People assignment that we will do out of that nice hardbound book there, We the People. Next up is going to be a map study, and the map study will be done in the map workbook. And I'm going to show that to you right here. Here's that map workbook. Next up is a timeline activity. Again, remember, these are all optional. And then we have a student workbook or lesson review. You can pick which one you want to do or choose not to use either of those. There's also a Thinking Biblically and the literature assignment there. And it has a note there to the parents that they can find some helpful information as they start this story with their kids from that answer key and literature guide. Now, next up, we are moving on to day 2, which would be a lesson on an American landmark. And so again, you see lots of beautiful pictures that go along with this curriculum. And here's all of those activities that you can choose from with your student. This lesson has some additional options of vocabulary, creative writing, and a family activity that you can find on the next page. Now, on the third day of this unit, you are going to learn about God's wonder, so a natural landmark. And again, there are activities that you can choose to do or choose not to do. Next up is daily life. And so you're learning about the daily life that took place in that time period, and again, activities to choose from. The last lesson is an American biography, and this one is on Jackie Robinson. And again, you're going to read the lesson, and then you have those optional lessons to choose from. And that's it. That is how easy it is to implement America the Beautiful. You can have your student just read the lesson out of the textbook or add in any of those assignments and activities that we talked about, like reading out of We the People or doing map and timeline work or adding in the literature component. You can have them work out of the student workbook or the lesson review. America the Beautiful is easy to adapt to your family's needs.